And we can second guess ourselves 100 times. That's what I was doing. I was like, everybody else has probably already written about this. What am I going to add to the conversation? But your word matters. Your story matters. And so what if it's a topic that maybe has been covered? Everybody has a new perspective.
Welcome to Created Creative. I'm Dawn.
And I'm Ruth. Thank you for being patient.
We have delayed this recording. It's coming out on time, but we delayed this recording for your artist date.
Yes, there was a perfect sunset happening and I had to observe it. Yes, and the water was just right. Yeah, so anyway, that was really nice. Thank you.
The
And
later,
letting
the
me-
better for me.
Yeah, it brings me comfort that you're a night owl because I'm like, oh, Dawn won't care.
I'm here to help everyone not worry about things running late.
It really is a gift. Way
Thank you.
too many people are worried about things going.
Do you know that I run my coaching business on West Coast time, even though I'm on the East Coast?
Oh, I didn't
So
know
then
that.
I look normal saying I'm 9 to 5 Pacific, but I don't work before noon.
That's so smart, though. No wonder you're a coach. You've got it all figured out.
So for those just joining us, week 4 of The Artist's Way, one of the tasks was reading deprivation, not read, and not take in information. So we chose to also include audiobook. How did it go?
Yeah, it was kind of hard, but kind of nice too.
You just watched a sunset.
Yeah, I'm just so often absorbing information, and that's just my default all the time.
And there
so,
is so much information to be
Yeah,
had.
everywhere. And so it was nice to be that, nope, I'm not doing that this week. I listened to so much music, and that was really nice.
One interesting thing was right before this week was the 4th of July. And the 4th of July fireworks, are televised and they're the whole thing. But the on-the-ground experience this year, there were points of entry and it was like a gift from Mayor Adams to the city of New York. And so people had specific entry points. It felt like we have a ticket, 100,000 people, but you know where you're going. You think they've done some math, you'll get in,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Totally badly organized, like so
Oh.
beyond.
Oh, no.
And this is for New Yorkers. This was not for tourists. So first of all, the best viewing in Brooklyn, Mayor Adams took for only his people, and it was nearly empty. So like 100,000 people could have been there. And
Oh,
then
man.
the police were just directing traffic, which is their job. But like he's the head of the police. There should have been people figuring out the lines. The line was more than 6 blocks long.
Oh, man.
And nobody knew anything. And it seemed like there were like 2 people checking for like we were zone 3.
Huh.
And so these fraternity guys ahead of us just started telling people what to do. Like in all the best, funny,
Yeah.
good spirited, tell people where to go. And we sort of chatted with the people in front and behind, really only to comment on when we entered the line because we sort of wanted to know when we got in.
Yeah.
And long story, getting back to reading Deprivation. We said, oh, we got in line some. And I think the fireworks at 9:30 or something.
Yeah.
So we did all establish we got in the line and stuff. So all of a sudden, this random man stands right in front of us. And I was like, I'm sorry, we were behind them. And he was like, no, I've been here. And I was like, no, you haven't. I know I look like somebody you could cut in front of, but I'm not. You guessed wrong.
I love it.
I mean, if you look through the crowd, you're probably going to cut in front of me, right? With a baby in a stroller.
With the,
Yes. And then he's like,
No.
I've been there the whole time. I don't know what you're talking about. And
He's
then
trying to gaslight you there in the line.
I was like, go lie to someone else. I was not going to be the weakest link after
No.
these fraternity brothers are working so hard to maintain this line. And it is an actual 100,000 people. Like they maxed out the ticket. This is like a
Yeah.
major thing. And the police were not involved. So people, by the way, were so well behaved, mostly. I mean, this guy just cutting a line.
Yeah.
Then he was like, I've been here for an hour. And I was like, what's the baby's name? And he's like, what? And I was like, you've been here with us for an hour and tell me the baby's name. And then if you've been with us, what time did we get in line? And he's like, I don't know, half an hour. And we had very well established. The
Yeah.
time was 7 and this was like 8:30. You're like, you don't get to come at
Yeah.
8:30 and get in this line.
So then did he leave?
He faded away. But back to the reading deprivation. I mean, I didn't read commentaries on it after it happened.
Oh, you did? Wow.
So I didn't really know the other checkpoints were just as bad. And we never got in because suddenly everyone was like pushing forward. And I was like, I'm not doing this with a stroller
Oh.
on cobblestone
Yeah.
toward the ocean.
Yeah.
We're not going to fall in the ocean, but just like the momentum of people wanting to see. So we went to my apartment and I opened the windows so we could hear the booms and then turned it
Yeah.
on. But I love fireworks. I was disappointed. But apparently they never got their checkpoint in gear. So like
Oh.
there was room for 100,000 people and there was way, way, way less.
That's
but
amazing.
I was
My
not the
fav-
weak link. I did not
No,
like a
that's,
line to
that's
prove.
my favorite part of the story.
And then I did read a couple of things through the week and they had so much more impact.
Yeah. And I did a lot more since I was listening to so much music instead of just listening to my usual playlists, listening to some new things. And boy, that was really nice because I haven't done that for a while. Just go looking for some new things to add to my rotations. And yeah. Today, I actually listened to my first podcast in a week. It was like, ooh, this is so interesting.
What did you learn?
Today's, I was listening to, did you ever listen to the Huberman Lab?
No, maybe I should.
It was all about what you should eat to maximize times of day that are good to eat and
I'm probably doing it wrong. I don't even need to
macros.
listen.
And so sometimes I get really interested in that. And he's a wealth of information. Andrew Huberman.
Okay.
The podcast is about stress and diet and strength. But so after reading Deprivation, it was a good week. And now this week, it's recovering a sense of possibility.
Ooh.
I found this to be fascinating.
In what way?
I feel like we've talked about this in some ways in the past, but this is about you'll explore how you curtail your own possibilities by placing limits on the good you can receive.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
big.
I know, it's so big, but just like we put limits on how big we can go or how much we can actually do or what we can produce. So much is possible.
I've been more aware of synchronicities. Like Lucy rode a tricycle for the first time ever, and then 2 days later, I saw a very nice tricycle left out for other people to take. People leave things out on their stoop. All of Brooklyn is a free rummage sale at all times. So
Awesome.
I found a tricycle like 2 days later, and then this guy came out and was telling me the pros and cons. Also, there was a person in the building I know from book club that was moving, and we went up and hung out with her, waiting for someone was going to come by the coffee table. And it's this like Facebook Marketplace random person of Brooklyn buying this coffee table, and it's Lucy's teacher from theater school.
Isn't that wild? Yeah. So these synchronicities totally play into what this chapter was talking about. It talks about just, that we put this out as to what we want to receive, but we can't be too picky about exactly how that's going to be. Be
Right.
open to the generosity of what comes to us.
Yes.
You know.
Then go after it. She's like, pray to get somewhere, but then run for the bus. Like you have to actually then do whatever. Free tricycle available right after Lucy tries it and likes it.
You had to be like, oh, that's awesome. Not, I wanted a red tricycle.
And one of my highest values is community. And I can picture ways I'd like that to feel deeper, but I never would have pictured some sort of world in which her music teacher is buying a coffee table in my building. That feeling, I don't know. New York is a series of small towns all knitted together, but I haven't had that as much in Brooklyn.
And I was just thinking about that too when I was over at the lake house that I'm taking care of. For those who maybe didn't catch the story, a couple asked me if I would water the plants at their lake house while they were gone on a cruise. And I was like, well, that sounds just fine to, be able to sit and look at the lake for a couple of weeks. But I had been thinking about how, because my house has been really busy this summer in beautiful ways. My boys are home, a friend of my boys are here, and that's great. But sometimes I like to have a little peace and quiet too. And so it's been really lovely to be able to sit there and enjoy the peace and quiet and think, oh, I didn't expect this to come my way, but I'm thankful just to receive it. Oh, I'm just curious, did you do any of those, like if you were 65 and had money, or if you were 20 and had money, did you think about any of those questions?
Do you have anything?
I was really thinking about that when I was sitting out at the lake. And what I was thinking about was I had never really before I was out at this church at Cormorant where like everybody has a lake place.
Yes.
I never really understood why people liked it, but as I've gotten to know the people, they like their big homes because a lot of them have room for their grandchildren to come and stay with them.
And that's when they're bonding.
Yeah, and being on lake.
It's a draw.
Yeah, it's a draw. Many of them have actually said that, and that makes sense. And so then I was like, someday if I have grandchildren, what would I want? And then I was like, well, I really like my house, but my house isn't very big. And so maybe I would tear down my current garage and build a different garage with like an apartment above it or something that would be
for holiday guests.
Yeah, like that would be kind of cool. I was pondering if I had unlimited funds, that would be a fun addition to do.
And any friend who visits, just being able to offer a guest house. You could have an Airbnb on occasion.
Airbnb, exactly. It could have all the purposes to it. And plus, it would increase the value of this too to have something like that. So that's something I would like to do. Exactly.
Bye. I just want to do all the things all the time. It's always about experiences for me. And I don't even need to do them high end. I want to do a lot of them. So I think the unlimited money would turn into travel or festivals or learning opportunities. I would take random classes at Ivy League institutions all the time,
Yes.
learning
all
and experiences.
Yes. All the Broadway shows.
And I guess I will have just paid outright for Lucy to go to whatever school she wants.
Yeah,
If I had all the
yeah,
money.
exactly. You could do all of the world schooling. Did you write 10 items you'd like to own that you don't?
I did not, but I could probably come up with it right now.
Yeah, mine is so lame. Fresh paint on my house. So my house, it needs a paint job. It's not terrible yet, but it's not great. And so I was like, maybe I could just call it shabby chic.
Yes, you could. This book, in general, does not shy away from the fact that you do need some money to be creative. So many people think starving artist is the imperative. And she's saying build a life and make sure there's money to do it. A lot of these books end up being so disconnected from the real world and follow your dream and not, it requires money. We live in a world that many, not all, dreams require some money. It's not shying away from that.
I love how so often when we interview people too, you don't shy away from asking that too, because that's a reality. When people want to build a business or follow a dream or make art, it's like,
How will
are
you
we
pay
gonna-
for it?
How are you going to fund that? Does it happen?
I think then people immediately go, that's a reason not to do it, instead of, great, I need to find another funding source
I'll figure it out.
to figure outable.
It's everything is yes.
Thank you, Marie Forleo.
Yes.
Okay, well,
Here's a quote. Nobody objects to a woman being a good writer or sculptor if at the same time she manages to be a good wife, good mother, good looking, good tempered, well groomed, and unaggressive.
yes, you have to be all the things. And if you can't be all the things, you have to be even tempered, well groomed. You don't give up that in order
Yeah.
to pursue the dream.
You can't be telling people they can't button line in front of you.
I know. I mean, I was so far out of the cultural norm.
I love that story. That's my favorite story of the week.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I even allowed the fact that I look like someone you could cut in front of. I understand why you picked me, but you're wrong.
I look the part of the mom. I look like I'm nurturing and loving, but no, just want to kick him in the shins.
Because we are trained to not speak up.
But you did.
I did.
And that is a beautiful thing. Here's a quote. We are traditionally rather proud of ourselves for having slipped creative work in there between the domestic chores and obligations. I'm not sure we deserve such big A pluses for that. Toni Morrison.
Yeah, the virtue trap is a whole huge part of a good person puts their needs on hold. And there's a certain amount of we want to live in community, everyone gives a little. But there's a lot of one particular person giving all
Yes.
and completely losing themselves. And that's what she's against.
Yes. I can tell the time in my life that I last read this because I had underlined and written 100% next to this paragraph. We strive to be good, to be nice, to be helpful, to be unselfish. We want to be generous, of service to the world. But what we really want is to be left alone. When we can't get others to leave us alone, we eventually abandon ourselves. We may look like we're there, we may act like we're there, but our true self has gone to ground.
I have a study Bible and they're like, oh, my confirmation verse. And they keep, in all the different stages of life. And they're like, oh, I studied this. And you have a Study Artist's Way hard copy.
And in a lot of these places, I had written in the answers each time, and I'd put the year
Oh, yeah.
and to see how it's changed
Do the
over
things
time.
you want change? Like you wrote I want 18 times. Did it end up in a different place than last time?
Yeah. Oh, like how I define my biggest lack and my biggest joy. The joy, a lot the same. Largest time commitment. A lot of them are different. Not all of them. Attitudes about money are a lot different now. A lot better.
Yeah. The last discussion question is the person I blame.
Uh-huh.
And today's guest touches on that among many other things when she's talking about not just like who do you blame for your life, but who gave you these negative messages? Are they really to be trusted? Are they the messenger?
Yes. Who told you that? Yes. We were so glad to talk with Lori about her book that has been out for a couple of years now. And I think that our listeners are really going to enjoy hearing more about it. This is Laurie Neill. Lori, it's so nice to see you.
Good to see you,
The
too.
last time I saw you, it was in Turks and Caicos, I think.
Yep, on a sandy beach. It was wonderful.
Oh, I know.
So you're a part of
know.
these consecrate out of the box trips. Tell me why they're great.
Don't ever usually get 6 hours of free time. So there was just lots of time to just do whatever you wanted. And there was also structured time with morning and in the evening. There was yoga, the things you could do. But I think the most refreshing thing for me was the people I met. It was just wonderful to hang out with other women in ministry and compare stories and support and encourage. And
Ruth draws a good crowd.
Well, it's just a good group of people. Women in ministry, we're just fabulous. But yeah, it was fun. And I think, Lori, that Dawn is going to be speaker at the next one.
how exciting.
I'm very excited to be with you all for a week, whoever it turns out to be.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Well, so Lori, I'm so glad you can be with us today. And oftentimes we start out by asking our guests to take a minute and introduce themselves.
Okay.
Could you do that?
You bet. Well, I am a pastor in the ELCA church. I started my career as a graphic artist. So I was an art director for a printing company for many years. Then when I started having kids, I stopped that and got my own graphic design business where I did graphic design for others. Staying home then with kids and having this graphic design firm, as life does, it threw me a curve and I ended up going through a divorce. And as God does, always worked good out through that pain that I was going through. And I started a local parenting magazine called the Village Family Magazine. And then eventually went into the ministry, felt the call from the church. And so I was ordained in 2012. My first call was at First Lutheran Church in downtown Fargo, which is a quite large church and multi-pastor staff. And then about a year and a half ago, I took a call to be, they said the senior pastor, but it's like, yeah, but I'm the only pastor.
Yes.
At a church called Messiah Lutheran, which is kind of a mid-sized church in Fargo.
So when you were a graphic designer, were you also in Fargo or you moved there for your first call?
I've been in Fargo all my careers. I'm from Montana, but I came here to go to Concordia in Moorhead, and I just never left.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Go Cobbers.
Such funny
Yeah.
mascots in Moorhead, Minnesota. The corn cob, the potato. The high school is
Yeah.
the Spuds.
Montana, we had the sugar beeters, so
Oh.
it's everywhere.
We're big into our agriculture, I guess.
Right.
There's a number of things that we want to talk with you about, but the first thing that we are excited to talk to you about is your new book.
What?
And so this came out just within the last year, right?
It was actually a couple years
Couple
ago.
years,
Yeah.
So for someone who has not heard of your new book, give a summary of it.
Sure, you bet. I really got interested in this idea about the truth versus the lie and did a lot of research and dug into that. And as a counselor, as a pastor, I found out that a lot of the people, the things that they were struggling with was because they believed lies about who they were or who God was. And so I point out right in the beginning of the book 3 questions that come up. And a lot of times the answers to those questions identify our misbeliefs and beliefs about God. So I talk about a two-edged sword. Satan is lies and God, of course, is truth. And what Satan would like us to believe on one edge of the sword is that God is not who he says he is. And on the edge of the sword is that we are not who God says we are. I start with 3 questions when Satan was in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve, and he asks the question, did God really say that you can't eat from that tree? He kind of echoes that question to us today. Did God really say that you were forgiven, that you were free, that you were a masterpiece? To get us to question who God says we are. Second question came from the Lord himself after Adam and Eve were banished. He says, who told you you were naked? And again, that question echoes down through the ages to us. Who told you that? Who told you that you were shameful? Who told you these things about yourself? The truthful answer to those things uncovers a lot of lies. And then the third question came when Satan was with Christ in the desert, and he knew he couldn't attack God's character, so instead he attacked God's identity. And if you are a child of God, and again he says it to us, if you are a child of God, then why do you struggle? Why do you have doubts? You know, that kind of stuff. So I kind of break it down to those 3 questions in the beginning and then go on with identifying who exactly is truth and who exactly is lies. When I do this as a small group study, I have people go through all the scripture that talks about God as truth, and all the scripture that talks about Satan as lies, and it's really quite amazing how much that is. When you become aware of it, you see it quite often in scripture. So we need to know the enemy, and so part of the first part of the book is getting to know who Satan is and how he works, and we're all in the battle whether we recognize it or not. And then I developed what's called the lie detector. Isn't that creative? Where we look at what you're being told, detect the lie, argue against it, and replace it with the truth, which is the word of God. So then we look at the weapons of deceit like shame or assumptions or worry, pity, those different weapons of deceit that Satan uses against us. And then the third part of the book is actually my favorite. It's kind of the lie of who we are. We believe the lie that I am how I appear, or I am what I accomplish, I am what I acquire, I am what I feel, I am what other people say I am. And we delve into each of those. And then, of course, in the end, we wrap it up with the truth is I am who my Creator says I am. And what is. I think one of the things that I was most excited about for the book was that it offers real practical advice that who told you that? If you ask that question about the things that you're struggling with, it really unveils a lot.
So how did it percolate? Did it start percolating in your brain? Tell us about the process
Sure.
of coming to write it.
Our women's circles at First Lutheran, when I was there, got tired of the Bible studies they were doing, and they said, would you be interested in writing one? And I'm like, yes, I would love to do that, because I love to do that kind of stuff. The impetus of the book in the beginning then was I wrote a Bible study for their women regarding the lies that we believe about ourselves. It was called, I think, The Cup of Identity. What kind of things do we allow in our cup? And it was just so well received. So I thought, you know what, let's pursue this a little farther. So I kept refining it, and then I would give it in a couple small groups or different places around town, other churches, and just kept refining it as I go. And then COVID hit. And so found myself with a little time on my hands. Plus, I'd had some surgery, which laid me up for about 8 weeks. So I had time then. And so God gave me these pockets of time, and I used them to write. And it was very freeing. It was a wonderful process. See it come to fruition. I paid for everything. No publisher picked me up.
We love self-published authors. We're all about it.
Yeah.
It's the way to
Tell
go.
me about Lutherans don't talk about Satan, really?
Yeah.
So how did you get into that world? Where was that path?
He's biblical. Kind of talk about him in there. Yeah, you're right. There was actually a couple publishers that said they would not publish me because that's kind of archaic to be talking about Satan.
I didn't need to call you archaic. I wanted to know your path to, like, it's not as much mentioned that, like, seminary, but you've said you've gotten quite a depth of knowledge and use it as a framework for an entire book.
Well, we actually did have a class at Luther on the devil and demoniology and all that. So that was really interesting. But when I do go out and give this to groups, a lot of times the idea of Satan comes up, and a lot of people have a real hard time that he exists and all that kind of stuff. There's an evil force, but it's not Satan. But it's like, well, again, it's biblical. And I really tried to base the entire book in scripture.
So, I mean, I think particularly because it's such a beautiful book, you must have hired a graphic designer then. Did you, or did
Nope,
you?
that's
Well,
me.
she is a graphic designer before.
Or she is a graphic designer, of course. Yes. You had the skills you needed
To do the whole-
just take care of the whole thing.
Why would you want to
Yeah.
publish her? You already are a graphic designer and a writer.
Exactly.
How has been the marketing journey having your own self-published book?
I went the publisher who was supposed to partner with me and help me with all of this stuff. Well, once the book was printed, I never heard from him again. So it was kind of up to me. So I've been going around to different places like synod assemblies and all that kind of stuff, and having tables when I can. You know, I guess there really hasn't been a whole ton of marketing, but I had to buy 1,000 books, and I've got all of those going. So
That's something.
Yeah.
Yeah, marketing is tricky. It's a hard thing. But I hired a friend to be kind of my social media because I'm really bad at social media.
Okay.
He's helped me a little bit with getting it out there on social media and stuff.
Okay.
Wanted to mention too is that I didn't want this book to be a self-help book. It's based on what Christ can do. If this book isn't about Christ, it's not worth reading. It's Christ who transforms. It's transformational if we can let the Holy Spirit work.
In the book, there's quite a few stories from your own life. How was it telling some really personal stories as you wrote this book? Like, how did that feel, sharing it and knowing anybody could read this?
If you can't be authentic, it's just really a detriment. And so I try to be as authentic as I can be in the pulpit and authentic as I can be in my stories. And one thing I decided early on was I do not want this book to be full of churchy language, and I didn't want it to be full of, you should do this or whatever. Instead, say, me too. I've struggled with that as well. And this is my story, and hopefully it'll help you.
Well, I totally agree. I think those personal stories, they add so much depth to it, you know, and that's always what draws me in. It's like, oh, good, she's talking about herself again.
Why'd you think that? Not, oh, here we go again.
People remember stories better than any other type of information. So
Yes. I know that you also blog. Could you tell us a little bit about your blog?
Sure. It's called lorietta.com. And what I do is take a piece of artwork once a week and then just write a devotion based on that piece of artwork. artwork. I was raised in a family of artists. My grandmother was a self-taught artist, as was my mother. And then I have a sister who's extremely artistic. She's got paintings in galleries in London and New York and all that. And she actually makes a living as an artist. My brother is very active and artistic. And I have a sister that lived in New York, in Manhattan, for 20 years. And now lives in Istanbul. And she writes and directs theater plays for the church and that kind of thing. So I just kind of have always been surrounded by people who are creative and artistic, and the smell of turpentine was always in our house. And I got dragged from art show to art show.
Yeah.
I am a huge lover of art, really appreciate it. And when I was trying to do a weekly devotion for my job, I was like, it's kind of hard to determine what to talk about every week. I thought, you know what? I love art so much. I want to share it with the world and share works of art and what it can mean and all that. I have a lot of people that come up that say, I didn't know anything about art until I started reading your blog.
And are you introducing artists we haven't heard of, or is it like Monet, Van Gogh?
That's a mixture of both.
Okay.
Of
great.
course, the ones that are all public domain are much easier, but I do have a couple others that I contact and say, can I use you in my blog?
When they're like living artists.
Everybody's thrilled for the exposure.
So is that project going to be a book someday too?
People tell me that you should make this into a book.
Yeah, especially if it works in the public domain.
Printing 4-color would be quite expensive, is the only thing that's...
You know who will pick it up and publish it? Homeschool presses.
Oh, really?
It's like a building block of homeschool to always be doing an art study in the great works
That's
of
true.
art. Some of it is just learning the artist, but there's a huge subsection of homeschoolers that are doing it for the faith-based part of it.
Good to know.
That's a great idea.
And so many of those people do not have a theological degree.
Yes.
Problem solved.
I
They'll
know.
publish it. They'll have 4-color printing.
Well, and it seems to me, and Dawn, you would know more about this right now than, I mean, back in the day when I was looking at homeschool stuff, it seemed like if you were a Christian looking for materials, like it was usually pretty conservative. You couldn't find progressive Lutheran.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, there's a hole in that market.
Progressive
Lori.
Christians
Okay,
use
good to know.
secular materials and then add in what they can.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, what is a junk journal?
It's kind of a combination between work of art and a journal and a scrapbook. So you take things like recycled music sheets or things from old books or postcards or any kind of thing, and I call it upcycle instead of recycle.
Very trendy,
And
upcycling.
That's what my son said. So I had to use that word. So I make these books. I'll take a stuffing box and I'll cover it with fabric or different kinds of paper and texture and all that, and then make pages. I make my own paper, or else I dye paper so that it looks really old, and put in little prizes here and there, pockets you can pick up and pull something out. And there's spaces throughout it where you can journal if you'd like. But the goal is to make it just look really old and loved and precious. So there's things sticking out all over the place, and it's just a lot of fun. It lends itself to a lot of creativity.
Can you send us a photo of one to put on our Instagram?
Do that.
Yeah. I'm excited to see the picture.
Got a
Very
video
cool.
of one that can I
even
send a
better.
video?
Yeah, that's better.
Please do.
I've made them for family members and friends and stuff, and I try to personalize them. Like I have a friend that was really into fishing, so I kind of use the fishing theme throughout the book and stuff. So
And did you say, is this an idea you got from someone else, or is this your own creation?
there's a lady on YouTube that I love, Treasure Books with Natasha, or
Whoa.
whatever. Anyway, she's been my inspiration.
Yeah.
Is she one of your
yeah.
favorite creators?
Yes, she is.
Good segue.
Who are your other favorite creators?
Caravaggio, are you familiar with the
Yeah.
painter Caravaggio?
Yes.
So next week, Caravaggio has a comprehensive exhibit in Rome, and my husband and I are going to see it.
Okay.
So I'm
Wow.
very excited about that. He's one of my favorites. Him and Van Gogh, I say, are probably the top two. I just am very fascinated by Caravaggio.
What is fascinating about Caravaggio?
He captures emotion just so beautifully in his use of light and dark. You know, if you look at the painting of Jesus choosing Matthew, just so much there where the light lands is all has meaning, and I just get all excited about it.
You're not the first one to bring him up on this podcast.
Really?
I'm pretty sure that's who Nathan Maxwell Doherty, that was his favorite artist.
Oh,
Caravaggio.
uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
yay, 2 votes for Caravaggio. Go back to that
Caravaggio.
episode to fact check me, everyone.
And then there's a current day artist that I follow and love. His name is Cody Miller. I think he's out of Columbus, Ohio. Look up Cody F. Miller, artist. He just does amazing work, faith-based work that is really beautiful.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Is your husband really into art as well?
My husband's a musician and he is into art. We really we love sports, we love art, we love music. There's just so many interests, but
Yeah.
probably he's not as big a nerd as I am, but he does like it.
So he's a
Uh-huh.
musician, like, is he in a rock band or what kind of musician?
He's a number of different bands, a symphony, a jazz group, all over the place.
What is his
Yeah.
instrument?
Bass guitar, acoustic bass, tuba, and keyboard.
Very versatile.
He's very talented. I remember you talking about him when we were in Turks and Caicos, but I don't remember how you met him. How did you meet him?
That's a long story, but I'll make it really short. Him and I were going to be alone for Thanksgiving, and for me, it was my first time my kids were with after the divorce, and for him as well. And so I put a notice in our church bulletin: "Is anybody's alone for Thanksgiving? Let's get together and have a potluck," thinking I'd have 10 people.
Yeah.
Well, it was him and I.
I love that.
Yeah, so we served Thanksgiving dinner together at another church, and then he called me a week later and asked me out for a date. So we met at Thanksgiving. We were engaged by Valentine's Day and married by June.
That's awesome.
Well, at our age, you don't have time to play games.
Right.
He had 2 boys, so we blended our family together, and now, of course, we're empty nesters. And I'm a grandma for the first time about 6 months ago, so that was fun.
Very cool. I think that baby had just been born when we were on the trip.
Yes.
Everybody was showing pictures.
Oh, yeah.
What other kinds of creative things do you like to work on?
I don't have a whole lot of time to do
Oh, yeah.
most of what I'd like.
Yeah.
There's a museum within 100 feet of me.
Mhm.
I think that's where I get most inspired, is walking through museums. When we're in Rome, we're also going to head up to Florence quickly and go through the Uffizi and then see David.
Yeah. Nice.
I'll be in heaven.
So when you
Yes.
say museum, you mostly mean visual art museums.
Yeah. And when you were working on the book, or when you write your sermons, when you're doing creative things, are there certain times of day when you're more creative than others?
Good question. Probably the morning before my brain gets too full by the end of the day. I like to write in the morning. I like to listen to classical music while I write. Can't have any words to the songs because then I can't concentrate.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm the same way.
I find when I do write, time just flies. It's like I can be writing and look up in 4 hours of fast or whatever. I just really
Mhm.
absorbed in it when I do it.
Sense
Yeah.
of flow.
So it sounds like once you sat down to write this book, it flowed pretty quickly. Yeah.
Hardest thing was trying to figure out how to structure it. I mean, all of these chapters, they fit them all together. So that was probably the trickiest part. I think it flows pretty well. And then, of course, there's these chapters that you want to put in, or at least for me, I really wanted to put them in, but they just didn't fit. And so I had to leave some out. Darn.
Yeah.
Now maybe I have to write a second.
Second book?
Yeah. Seeds for the next
Third
one. Yeah.
book?
One topic that just kind of become attracted to the topic of regret, because I have so many of my own regrets. And so I would mind doing a little research in that topic of regret and what it means theologically and all that kind of stuff. 'Cause I
Add
think
on
it's
to it.
probably a topic a lot of people maybe struggle with.
Yeah. So Daniel Pink has his book out about regret. It is a topic that is in the public consciousness.
Yeah. Oh,
That's been a couple of years ago.
is it called regret?
The power of regret, how looking back moves us forward.
Oh,
Oh, so that's
Yeah.
kind of a different take, like embracing
Yeah.
regret.
Yeah, it's very positive
mhm.
that it's powerful.
You know,
It shows
yeah.
you what you value, is kind of one of the thesis statements,
Ah, I love that.
and then allows you to take future action knowing what you value.
At a small group last Wednesday on my book, we were talking about forgiveness, the forgiveness chapter. And I ran across a quote that I threw in there. Forgiveness is giving up the desire to have a perfect past. And I think that would work with regret as well.
Even more so.
How do you see creativity and spirituality connect?
I think they are really both on the same coin, just 2 different sides. Spirituality and creativity. I mean, we have a creative God and we are made to be creative. Everybody's creative because everybody has that divine spark within them. So they really, I think, are very much connected. And for all of us, we have to just slow down though. We're always so distracted and so busy going, that creative spark sometimes is doused, but it's still there.
Do you happen to know your Enneagram number? Such a random
I
question.
don't. Everybody
I
keeps
just-
asking me.
No, it's okay. Last week we had an Enneagram person. I just was wondering which Enneagram number sees the world as a struggle between good and evil. You're so drawn to studying Satan and good and evil, and I don't really know anyone else that sees the world that way, and I want to know more people, so I just wondered what kind of person does that?
That's been on my list for a long time, is to take a class, and I just can't seem to get one in.
Yeah. The guest that we just interviewed, she does
She does
online
classes.
classes.
You should take
Yeah.
one from
Oh,
her.
really?
Yeah.
Stephanie Late.
Stephanie Late. Yeah.
Yeah, Stephanie was in my cohort at Luther.
Oh,
Stephanie. Yeah, I
She
saw it
was.
on her Facebook page, and I thought, "Ooh, I should join."
She's
Like,
real
starts
good.
jumping.
Then let me know
Yeah.
which Enneagram number sees the world as a struggle between good and
I'll let you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great. And I mean, she's the real deal. She is very well informed about the gram. So, how much of creativity do you think is inspiration and how much is discipline?
Great question. I actually think discipline has more to do with it because inspiration is great, necessary, and all that. But to stoke the inspiration, to be disciplined, allowing ourselves to be inspired and giving ourselves that, like I mentioned earlier, just that opportunity to slow down, to be quiet, to listen. We all have inspirations, never go anywhere. At least I do have lots of inspiration, but I need the discipline to sit down and make it happen. Once you get the discipline to just make the first step, then the other subsequent steps become a little.
I think you're right, though, that there's something about that once you do get in the routine of the discipline and you start to see it build up, then it's exciting, builds more and more. It's just to get that initial
Well,
movement.
for my blog that I do, a lot of discipline. Love to do it, but boy, it takes discipline to sit down and write. And I only do it once a week. I know a lot of people blog daily. I don't know how they do that.
Yeah.
It's their whole thing. It's their entire creative outlet. They're not writing a sermon.
Yeah. And how long have you had that blog?
Oh, gosh, probably 10 years.
Oh, and has it been pretty much every week for 10 years?
Well, well, let me back up a little bit. I've been writing a devotional every week for about 10 years because it's part of my job description when I was at First Lutheran. I probably didn't actually start the blog and the artwork connection until 6 years ago.
You probably have a whole book done then. You know? Yeah.
Sometimes when I look back at the volume of it, again, that discipline, you just got to do it.
Young woman. That is great. Is there anything that Dawn could give you coaching on as you think about upcoming projects?
I really want to do more with the book.
Where are we at?
I don't complain, but here's where I'm at. My publisher returned the rights of my book to me after 2 years, which
Okay.
they said that they probably would.
Okay.
But the thing was, is that it was just a note that they sent me that was not signed, it was not dated. So I had a lawyer say, well, that's not legally binding. But my book is still on Amazon. Who's printing it? Who's getting the royalties?
Oh, you're not getting those royalties?
What do I do? I don't know what to do next. I don't know what to. My lawyer just pretty much said, there's nothing to do. And I tried contacting the publisher, many of the avenues, and I don't know if they went under. I just get no response.
So then I think you change 5% and you publish a second edition and you put it back out there just like Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Just do a second edition.
Yeah.
both the
And
different-
then you get the Amazon royalties. Whenever you put up a link, you send them to your link and just let people know.
So it wouldn't matter if they're both up there.
I mean, people are buying Taylor's version up until she bought back her rights this month.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you. You just helped me with a huge dilemma.
Yeah. And you could put like a new forward on it or something.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have to make it really clear which is the version.
The color, maybe make it so easy and obvious.
Oh, that's a
Not
good
even be
idea.
green.
Would it get a whole new ISBN number then?
Yes.
It's a second, yeah.
Yeah. And then do you know how to use the ADP, the Kindle Direct Publishing? That's the way that you could publish it yourself and then put it up under your own name.
ISBN.
And then you wouldn't need that intermediary because I assume when you worked with the other one, did you send everything to them and then they listed it? Yeah.
And on
They-
Bookshop too.
Yeah, Dawn and I have experience with putting things up on KDP. It's really easy if you have any questions about that. But it's basically, I mean, Dawn, you did it more recently.
My graphic designer did it.
Oh, that's
But
nice.
I am aware of it. He did it.
Okay, so yeah.
Because it had to be formatted. But you are a graphic designer. You can format it correctly.
And then study guide as well, because
Yeah.
I've been going around
Oh.
and doing this with a number of different groups, and we've just been photocopying off. But I would like to get a printed design study guide is also next on my list.
Version 2 has the study guide in there, and then you also sell the study guide separately for people who have already bought the book. And
That's a great idea.
you're putting up 2 more things, and those match.
Yes.
They're both blue, or whatever's not green.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
You should tell me how many nights I've sat up going, what do I do? I don't know what to
I
do.
feel like if they're not answering you, you leave them behind.
And you'll get so much more profit for yourself, you
Yeah.
know, because it's all coming to you. And anyway, it sounds like that publisher was a learning experience. You don't know what you don't know, you know.
And I've been able to get that book out
Yeah.
there. So.
Yes. And now with the next book, you've learned a lot from the first one. Yeah.
And when I read my first one, I sometimes go, oh, why did I say that?
So you're changing it 5%.
So you take out all of those quotes.
Definitely Google
Okay.
to see how much it has to change to get the new ISBN number. But it's not much. I know it's
Wow,
not much.
truly interesting.
Yeah, that was a great question. And
Thank you for your help on it.
it's just, yeah, you learn it one step at a time and
Mhm.
figure it out. So, as a published author, if there was someone who was dreaming about writing a book and wanted advice, what advice would you give?
Do it. I mean, we can second guess ourselves 100 times. That's what I was doing. It's like everybody else has probably already written about this. Why should I? What am I going to add to the conversation and all that kind of stuff? But I had my stories and my perspective and inspiration. And your word matters. Your story matters. And so what if it's a topic that maybe has been covered? Everybody has a new perspective. God is always making all things new. Don't be afraid.
Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Thank
has
you
been
so
wonderful.
much. And you're available if people are interested in having you come speak, Bible studies.
Got an 8-session study on it, or I've also done it as the keynote speaker at women's events. I would love to come and share.
We'll put your contact information in the show notes so people can find you.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us for Created Creative.
We're so glad that you could join us. And don't forget to follow us on social media. And remember our Patreon. We'd love to have you join us as a patron.
Everybody, if you haven't already, subscribe to Ruth's Consecrates. They are subscription boxes for women in ministry.
And check out Big Picture, Big Purpose. That's Dawn's coaching. She is brilliant, as you get to hear every week on this program. So check her out, Big Picture, Big Purpose.
And go create something.
Go create something.